we're going to go through a series of warm-up exercises which are really lovely to do on their own, or if you're going to do more challenging exercises. It's a nice flow to work through before you start into more advanced work. It just gets everything moving, gets your shoulders settled, really nice. So what you're going to need is something to sit on. You can see I'm sitting on a couple of blocks. Equally, you could sit on a couple of books, decent thick books. You can also sit on a chair, something that lets you sit pretty comfortably. Chair is totally fine, just keep lifting higher and higher and higher till you get a position where you can sit comfortably like this, or if you prefer, you can sit with your legs crossed. You're also going to need, I'm going to use a head pad, but if you don't have one, can always use a towel, fold it up to whatever thickness you need. I'll give you an idea of what thickness you'll need as you go through this. So for now, I want you to sit either on the floor, on some blocks, on your chair. I want you to take your hands, hug them, hug yourself. So you're wrapping your arms around the lower part of your rib cage, and I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe in through your nose into your arms. And breathe out through your mouth, noticing your rib cage close down. So breathe in through your nose. Notice your arms getting a wee bit of a stretch as your rib cage expands, and breathing out through your mouth. Couple more like that. What I want you to watch as you breathe in, it's really sending that breath into your arms rather than up into your shoulders. So your rib cage widens, and as you breathe out, it closes down. Last one, breathing in. So your shoulders stay heavy. They stay down your back. And as you breathe out, your rib cage closes down. From there, I want you to keep that idea of giving yourself a hug, but your hands come onto your knees. You breathe in, sitting on your sit bones, sitting tall. And as you breathe out through your mouth, you nod your head, you round your spine, and you flex forward over those legs to wherever's comfy. You're not pushing your end range here, but you're going to stay. You're breathing in through your nose. Your rib cage expands, and as you breathe out, your rib cage closes down. So as you breathe in, feel your rib cage fill that space behind you. Fill that space where your arms were and you were giving yourself that hug. And as you breathe out, notice it close down. And then I want you to start and bring some pelvic floor into this, a bit of belly into this as well. So as you breathe in, your rib cage expands just like it did. And as you breathe out, your two sit bones that you're sitting on, can you think of drawing those guys together, drawing them up a wee bit to activate that pelvic floor? At the same time, think of drawing your belly away from your thighs a little bit. Breathe in, let all that go, let your rib cage expand. So we're using your exhale here to think about drawing your sit bones together, your pelvic floor up a bit, your belly away from your thighs a bit. And you're breathing in to let that go. Can be kind of counterintuitive. Use your exhale as your rib cage closes down. Your sit bones draw together, your pelvic floor lifts just a wee bit, your belly activates a wee bit. This is not the most challenging movement you've ever done, or the most challenging kind of activation. You're not going to 100%. You're only going to a quarter of what you can do. So you're breathing in, letting your rib cage expand. Breathing out, finding that activation, that drawing up of your pelvic floor, that drawing in of your belly. Last one, breathe in. Let that rib cage open up behind you, like you've got gills on your back and you're letting them open. As you breathe out, pelvic floor, sit bones draw together, belly draws away from your thighs, and let's restack your spine up nice and tall. From there, you're coming down onto the floor. You've got a mat, then use it, otherwise carpet, rug, something like that. This is where you're going to need either your head pad or your wee towel behind you. If you can lie looking up at the ceiling, straight up at the ceiling, you may not need a head pad, but what tends to happen, if you know you're kind of rounded through your upper back, then if you take that away, what tends to happen is you get this really lengthened neck and you end up looking, kind of behind. That's where lifting your head Just being mindful of where it is. Can you look straight up at the ceiling? If you can, great. If you need the help of a wee head pad, then you do it. So you're in your neutral spine. I'm going to talk about this a wee bit. Your feet are hip distance apart, your knees are hip distance apart, tracking up through your hips. Your rib cage is nice and heavy. Your head is nice and heavy. Your arms are down by your side, and I want you to start by rocking your pelvis. So you'll notice that you can tilt it one way, so if you had a tray of drinks, they'd be spilling towards you, and if you tilt that way, your lower back flattens, and if you tilt the other way, so your tray of drinks spills towards your feet, your lower back arches. So you've got these kind of, let's call them 3 positions. You've got tilt this way, you've got the middling position, which we're calling our neutral position, and then you've got the arch the other way, where you're tilting towards your feet. So see if you can find that middling position. You've got a bit of an arch in your lower back. It's quite pronounced on me. You might be a bit more, you might be a bit less, but you're in the middle. So you're not completely tucked under and you're not completely arched away. You're in the middle. You're quite chilled out through the front of your hips. Arms are long by your side. You're going to breathe in through your nose. As you breathe out, think about drawing your pubic bone towards your belly button. So now you're tilting. And as you breathe in, release yourself back into that neutral position. So I'm going to move my arm out of the way so you can see. As you breathe out, your pubic bone, think about that drawing towards your belly button. And then inhale to release back. So this is your imprinted position. And this is your release to your neutral position. As you breathe out, tilting. And the real trick with this, well, 2 real tricks. One is, this is not the hardest you could work. You are gently tilting. It's not jamming your back into the mat. It's gently moving. The other is, can you do this using your abdominals? So again, what can happen is your glutes, those strong muscles of your bottom, can join in. They could do it, but we want to activate these abdominals, particularly your obliques. It's a giant X that runs across your middle. These guys are controlling that movement and then lengthening as you move away. Couple more. So as you breathe out, you're imprinting. Bit of pelvic floor activating here again, and you're releasing. Last one. Exhale to imprint. Inhale to release back to that neutral position with your natural curve in your lower back. From here, can you stay neutral and take it into knee drops? So as you breathe in, one knee comes out to the side, you roll onto the outside edge of that foot, and as you breathe out, you draw it back. You alternate sides. So as you breathe in, you roll onto the outside edge of that foot, and as you breathe out, bit of abdominals as you come back in. So trying to stay neutral through that spine, through that pelvis, particularly the whole time. Your shoulders may start to join in. Try not to let them. They don't need to. And what is likely to happen is as one knee comes out, the other one will try and join in. It'll try and counterbalance the opposite direction. So don't let it. As one knee moves, the other kneecap stays pointing up towards that ceiling. And the other thing I want you to notice is how far you go. So, I can come to about here. If I go further, can you see my pelvis moves? My tray of drinks, straight off to the side. I don't want to, I want to keep that tray balanced. So that means you're going to have to try and control how far that leg goes. And when you reach your limit, whatever that looks like for you, then you draw back in. And drawing back, that's your last one. From here, keeping nice and steady and neutral, I want you to take it into leg slides. I hope I've got enough space. So as you breathe in, that foot stays on your mat, on your rug, whatever's on. As you lengthen away, just about. And as you breathe out, draw it back in. Other side. As you breathe in, slide that leg away, super long, and draw it back in. So ideally you're pointing through that ankle. If I do that, I really don't have space. till your leg gets straight, and you draw back in. And you breathe in as you slide, trying to keep everything else pretty steady. You can see this is a bit kind of jumpy for me because I'm on the mat, but you're still trying to keep contact. It's going to be light contact with the ground, but I want you to still keep contact. This is not challenging your strength, but what you are doing is waking up your stabilising muscles so that this all stays steady. Your tray of drinks is still here, not spilled. And we'll go for one more each side, sliding along, letting the front of your hip open, but keeping everything under control here so that your back stays nice and steady. It doesn't start arching on you. Last one to the other side. So slide it long as you breathe in, and slide it back as you breathe out. From here you're coming onto your side. So this is where I'm going to use one of my thicker blocks and my wee block. You're going to need something about that height. So a book, folded towel on top of it, something like that. I want your ear in line with the front of this. So most of it's behind you. Your hands are out in front. Your shoulders are stacked. Your hips are stacked with that top hip reaching away, so you're not collapsed down. You're reaching away. Your knees are up at about 45 degrees and your feet are in line with the back of your bum, back of your spine. And we're going to rotate. So as you breathe in, just your top arm moves, your fingertips point to the ceiling. As you breathe out, stabilise that shoulder, roll away from your underneath arm. Your head turns and you're watching that arm the whole time. Watch that your arm doesn't disappear way behind you and do weird things with your shoulders. Breathe in when you're there, particularly into that top part of your rib cage, and as you breathe out, close yourself back down. So breathing in, just your top arm moves. Breathing out, stable shoulder, roll away from that underneath arm, leave it behind, leave your knees and your pelvis behind, but your rib cage gets all that lovely rotation. You breathe in when you're there and you breathe out to close back round. So this is much slower than you'd probably think. Breathing in, breathing out to rotate. Leave those knees heavy. Everybody's range of motion is going to be slightly different. Breathe in when you're there and breathe out to close back down. Last one on this side. So breathing in, just your arm. Breathing out, rolling away, letting that rib cage rotate, letting your head follow your hand. It doesn't disappear. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, close back down. Hopefully you feel a good bit already, kind of open around that rib cage. Turn yourself around. Remember your ears in line with the front of your little pile of head pad or whatever it is you're using. Take a wee second or two or three to line yourself up. So your shoulders are stacked. That top hip is reaching away, so your underneath waist is working. You've got nearly a wee bit of space under that maybe. Knees stacked, ankles stacked, ready to go. So as you breathe in, just your arm moves. As you breathe out, follow it with your head. Leave that underneath arm where it is. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, you're closing down. Breathe in. So it kind of flows with your breath. Breathe out, your underneath arm stays. Your knees stay as you rotate. You breathe in when you're there. Breathing out, closing down. Keeping that underneath waist active. Two more. Breathe in. Breathing out, rotate. Watching that arm doesn't disappear way off behind you. Breathe in and breathe out, close down. We're trying to think about stabilising that shoulder joint for your last one. So you breathe in. As you breathe out, your rib cage, your arm moves as one as you rotate round. Breathe in. Breathing out, closing back down. From here, push your head pads, all of that out of the way. So even if you were using a head pad before, I want it out. I want your feet closer to your bottom. You're laying yourself down, arms down by your side. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let's have a little imprint like you did before using your abdominals. But this time we're taking it into a baby spine curl. So you keep that tilt. So you've tilted that pelvis, you keep curling your pelvis will lift, your spine will start to peel away from that mat. When you're about halfway up, breathe in and breathe out. Roll back down. Find that movement through your lower back, your pelvis lands, then release to neutral. Breathe in. As you breathe out, that bit of an imprint first, then working through your glutes. Now those bottom muscles are having to work. As you pick up your pelvis, we're going to go higher, maybe like 3/4 of the way. Thinking each little segment of your spine is picking up. Breathe in. As you breathe out, really use that exhale to soften down through that middle part of your back. You're still keeping that tilt on. As you roll down through your lower back, your pelvis lands, and then you get that release back to neutral. Let's go the full way, so breathe in. As you breathe out, get that tilt through your pelvis, then your glutes start to work as you peel through that spine. And you keep going until your weight is across your shoulder blades. Standing strong into your feet, breathe in. As you breathe out, really use that exhale, sigh out, roll down through your neck, your upper back, through your middle back, lower back if you can find it, that's often the hardest bit, and then release to neutral at the end. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tilt, pick up your pelvis, picking up each segment in turn. Just be aware of what's happening around your feet. Make sure you've got weight through your 3 corners of your feet, so the base of your big toe in particular, the base of your baby toe, and your heel. On each foot, because often we've got a stronger side, and they love to be dominant and they'll try and take over, but see if you can keep it even through both feet. As you roll up through each segment, just noticing for yourself if there's any bits that are particularly kind of sticky, any bits that don't want to move. Just notice those, and maybe on your next go, really use that exhale to try and encourage, not force, but encourage a bit more movement. When you're up there, your next time, I just want you to do a little bit of a check. So I want your knees pointing towards your toes. You know, they're going out over your toes. If you're tight through the front of your thighs, which if you've been sitting a lot, chances are you've gotten a bit tighter than normal through the front of these thighs. So you're really sending those knees forward. You're using your glutes. If you've hung out here for any length of time, you'll know that these glutes are starting to really let you know that they're working. These guys open the front of your hips. So you're not at 90%. You're at 100% where you're really using those glutes. Then I want you to be aware, okay, what's happening around my rib cage? It is possible to come much higher, to really arch your back. And if you were in yoga, you'd be doing that. But you're not in yoga, you're in Pilates. So what we're trying to do is find that connection between your rib cage and your pelvis. Really find it's that neutral position again. And you end up with this straight line right from your knees right to your shoulders. And you're the whole way up through your body. And if you're still up here, you'll definitely know that your glutes are working. One last check. What are your knees doing? Have they knocked together? Have they drifted out to the side? See if you can keep those guys in the centre, straight over your toes. Your feet are roughly hip distance apart. Your knees are roughly hip distance apart. So you end up with this kind of tram line thing going on between your hips right to your feet. Everything in a line. Take a breath in. I think we're ready to come down. So as you exhale, roll yourself all the way back down. Try to keep that tilt on your pelvis if you can, so you find your lower back. You release to neutral. Breathe in. As you breathe out, one more. So you stacks of things to think about. But the most important one is to breathe. And the second most important one is just let your spine move. Use a wee treat for your spine. As you roll yourself all the way back down, release to neutral. And then from here, you're coming round onto all fours. So I want your hands in underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. You've got that neutral spine again, so you're not tucked under through your pelvis and you're not sticking your bum way out behind. You're somewhere in the middle. Think of your weight coming through the baby finger side of your hand, and we're taking this into our cat stretch. So we breathe in here. As we breathe out, start with your tailbone. So tilt that pelvis, draw your belly button up, tuck your bottom couple of ribs up, let your shoulders widen, let your head tuck under, and you end up looking towards your knees. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, your tail comes out first. You start to untuck yourself, and you come all the way back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, rounding, arching. It's so active through your front line. Even though it's your back that arches, it's your front line, your abdominals that's controlling it. You breathe in, and as you breathe out, untuck and lengthen back. So I want you to keep moving through this. Finding that tilt, letting yourself round. As you come up and your hands press, think particularly of pressing into the baby finger side of your hands. Let your shoulder blades widen. Try to watch that they don't end up around your ears. Your head tucks under last and you end up looking towards your knees. You breathe in, and as you breathe out, you untuck. So this is a wave travelling up through your body. Your shoulders reorganize themselves. Think of that baby finger side of your hands and you're back to neutral. You're keeping moving through that. And if your wrists start to give out to you, one thing you can do is give yourself a wee break. So you can come off those wrists, interlace, circle, move. As your body gets more used to this, it will be able to go for longer. I'll do one more with you. So you're tucking under, starting with that tailbone each time, rounding, arching up, watching those shoulders don't creep up around your ears. And then as you breathe out, untuck. And you're lengthening yourself all the way back. From there, you're coming onto your back. Wee head pad, wee towel if you need it. Feet hip distance apart, spine nice and neutral. This time your arms are coming straight up above your chest. Not above your head, above your chest. Palms facing each other, fingertips nice and long, and you're into shoulder drops. So as you breathe in, you reach up, and as you breathe out, you settle down. This is your shoulder blade gliding. So as you breathe in, it glides around the side of your rib cage, and as you breathe out, it settles down. And as you breathe in, it glides. And as you breathe out, it settles down. Again, think of that space between your shoulders and your ears. Can you find a little bit more length? Just a little bit more space. A little bit more openness. It's really tempting as you reach up towards the ceiling with your fingertips for your shoulder to creep up towards your ear at the same time. So just have a wee conversation with it. Tell it you're gliding round the side of my rib cage, please. And as you come back, you settle wide. And you'll probably really be able to feel that width on the mat, on the floor. And then from here, let's do one last one, reaching up. I want to keep both arms. Both arms this time are your shoulder blades are down. So you're in that kind of neutral position, but I want you to retract your shoulder blades. What I mean is you're trying to glide them together as if they're trying to touch together on the back of that mat, and then release to neutral. So your rib cage is going to lift a bit just because of the way your muscles are working to do this, but try not to pop your ribs right up into the sky. So you're drawing those shoulder blades back as if you're trying to get them meeting together on that mat, and release. So it doesn't look particularly dramatic, but you can really feel, okay, I'm trying to get the shoulder blades to touch, 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 and release. One more. Trying to get those guys to touch. You're really retracting your shoulder blades. And then you're back to neutral, and your arms come down by your sides. From here, you're into our head nods. So I want you, as you breathe in, to let your chin drop a bit, but let the back of your neck lengthen. And as you breathe out, come back to looking straight up above you. So you're not jamming your chin into your chest, but you may end up with something of a double chin. And release back. I want you to think length. So you're not jamming your chin right down into your neck. You're lengthening, creating a longer back of your neck. This is a really nice exercise to wake up your neck muscles. So whenever we come into our curl ups, which we're going to do in a wee minute, your neck muscles are ready to do some of this work. One more. And then I want us to take it into some shoulder shrugs. So can you shrug your shoulders up to your ears? It's not easy to say. And back into neutral. Shrug your shoulders to your ears. And back to neutral. Couple more. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Back to neutral. Last one. And back to neutral. Then can you send your shoulders, your arms the other way? So reach them down towards your feet. And back to neutral. Can you see this is not very dramatic? But as you try to move, you'll really notice how much your back line wakes up. Try not to round up through those shoulders. Try to keep them gliding along the mat or along the floor. Last one, sliding those arms, sliding those shoulders down, and release back to neutral. From there, last two exercises. So can you interlace your hands behind your head? Elbows are kind of wide. You can just about catch sight of them in your peripheral vision. Feet are hip distance apart, knees are hip distance apart, spine is nice and neutral, pelvis is nice and neutral. You've got your natural curve in your lower back, not too much, not too little, whatever works for you. And we're coming into our curl-ups. You're going to need your abdominals for this. So what I want you to think of is keeping in that nice neutral position, drawing up your pelvic floor. Think about trying to draw your hip bones together. So as you work, there will be a tendency to puff your belly up. And I don't want you to let you do that. I want you to think you're actually narrowing in. Think about those hip bones drawing together. Support from underneath from your pelvic floor. Let's give it a go. So as you breathe in, little head nod like you just did. As you breathe out, pelvic floor, drawing that waist in. And you're curling up to whatever height works for you. Breathe in. And breathe out. So inhale, little head nod. Exhale. Let the weight of your head be taken by your hands as you curl yourself up. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, come back down. Try to keep the front of your hips relaxed. They'll try and get grippy on you. So as much as you can, try to let them relax. If those guys get grippy, the next thing that happens is your pelvis will try and tilt towards you, so your tray of drinks would spill towards you. So you really got to think about letting that whole kind of front of your hips in around your pelvis chill out. Doesn't have to join in too much here. And then the movement is all happening up around your top end, so your head nods and you curl up. Like there's a piece of string on your breastbone and it's pulling you up and forward. Breathe in. It's hard to breathe in when you're here. See if you can find the sides of your rib cage and breathe out. Let's have two more. So inhale, little head nod. Exhale, curling up, keeping those elbows wide. Breathe in. And breathing out. Last one. Breathe in. Breathing out to curl back up. Breathe in. And breathing out. Lengthening yourself onto that mat. Last movement, we're going to start to extend through the spine. So if you've been spending a good chunk of time on your phone or iPad, your screen time's kind of gone up. If you're working from home on a laptop, well, first thing to say is keep moving. Definitely keep moving, and then find a way to bring some extension into your day. Our final exercise in this little sequence is breaststroke prep 1. So you're on your front. Just check in with your pelvis. You're not really moved one way and you're not really arching through your back the other way. You're somewhere in the middle. Your belly button is drawing away from that mat. We're trying to activate those abdominals to give us, all that stability we've been working on, really stabilizing through that center. So imagine you've got a little thistle growing up out of that mat, right onto your belly button. So you're drawing that abdominal wall away from that thistle and keeping you nice and safe. Nice and wide across your shoulders. Just turn your head side to side. Check out where your fingertips are. Roughly in line with your eye line. Nice and wide which gives you width across the front of your shoulders as well as across the back of your shoulders. And from there, as you breathe in, can you draw those shoulders down your back like you're aiming for your back pockets? And as you breathe out, hover your head. Extend that upper mid back. Breathe in when you're there, and breathe out as you come back down. So I want you to keep moving through this. Can you check in with your glutes? As you breathe in, your shoulders come down. As you breathe out, your head hovers and you extend. Your bottom muscles stay pretty chilled out, but remember about that thistle under your belly button. It is definitely still trying to draw that belly button away, stop it from getting damaged. So breathing in shoulders, breathing out, using your upper mid back here. So it's not your bottom muscles, it's not because you're pushing air into your belly, it's not because you're pushing on your hands, they're just there, they're just resting on the floor. What's happening is your upper mid back muscles are waking up and letting you extend. So it's not that dramatic. Your bottom couple of ribs are staying resting on that mat. You keep looking down at the mat, you don't get to see yourself out in front. And then you come back down. Couple more. This is really nice. I think everybody's been on the screen time. So we can't keep in contact in person, but we definitely can keep contact through our screen, which is amazing and wonderful. But we do need to take a break from it. We do need to keep moving and watching that we don't get all hunched over. So this is your last one. Extend up. Find that openness and width across your collarbones. Really allow yourself to open. Think about that width rather than height. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, come back down. And then for your very last movement, push yourself up onto all fours. We're coming into a shell stretch. So round up through your back. Your abdominals are working here. Keep that roundy shape. Set yourself back. I can't sit right back on my heels, but if you can, then great. Maybe you want to rest your head down. Your arms can be out in front if you want. They can even be round by your feet. And I want you to breathe. As you breathe in, let the back of your rib cage open. Like it's got a whole set of gills running down it. Really think as you inhale, you widen and open. And as you breathe out, let it close down. Active abdominals, remember, still arching that back. Last one, breathe in. Breathing out. And curl yourself. And hopefully you feel a little bit like, okay, maybe do some more Pilates, or at the least you feel ready to go take on your day a little bit more.